Welcome to the WDW Fan Zone Show. I'm Stuart, joined by Kurt, Darlene, John, and Jess. And tonight we're going to answer your questions about preparing for a Walt Disney World or planning for a Walt Disney World vacation. But before we get into that, as always, we've got the wonderful Jess with the latest, greatest Disney World news.
Hello, everybody. All right, so let the magic begin, and Mickey's Magical Friendship Fair at Cinderella's Castle in the Magic Kingdom will not be having any shows for the next few weeks. The next set of showings are on schedule for July 28th. There's no official announcement, so we don't have an exact reason for why, but it could be due to castle construction. D23 Gold members are having a Country Bear preview event. Gold Mem Bear Gathering, Country Bear Musical Jamboree at Magic Kingdom. Tickets cost $49 plus a $7 processing fee. Tickets go on sale tomorrow, Monday, July 8th at 10 a.m. on the D23 website. Members can see the show, get a poster, and access to a pre-show discussion with the Walt Disney Archives and Imagineering. And the shows are on Saturday, July 13th. Don't forget, Peter Pan's flight will be closed starting tomorrow, Monday, July 8th, until August 21st. And the Hush Puppies have returned to Columbia Harbor House in case you were missing them. Don't forget to check park hours before planning your trip and check again once you arrive to see if they've changed. And the Walt Disney World area is expecting summer weather. So don't forget the ponchos and common sense when it comes to visiting the parks. Stay hydrated and reapply sunscreen throughout the day. Did you know that you can get free cups of ice water at any place that serves fountain drinks? Refill your water bottles and drink water. Also, bring liquid IV little packets. You can pack them in your suitcase and replenish your electrolytes. Okay, can you tell my mom? All right, that's all I have for today.
Thank you, Jess. Great as always. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Yes, you all too. See you real soon.
See you next week, Jess.
Hey, Jess.
Hi, Jess.
Hi, Jess.
I will be gone for the next couple weeks because I will be on the beach
right.
somewhere. So.
That's right.
So
we will
I'll
have
see
no
you back
news
at the end of July.
Okay,
So
we'll
no
see you
news
then.
until then, but I have a feeling there's not going to be very much news anyway. Kind of quiet.
If there is, we'll cover it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Sure, no problem.
All right, take care.
Take care. Enjoy your vacation.
Thank you.
All right. Before we get into the topic of the show, has anybody? I want to mention this because it's been making all the news around here. There was a Princess Cruise that was taking place in Germany. Was one of the stops, and a 14-year-old autistic boy was allowed to get off the ship
alone.
With that, while he was there with his grandparents, he was allowed to get off alone. We don't know all the details on how this happened. They did find the kid. He went missing for I think a day or two. They did find him. He's okay. You know, there's no mischief involved with any other people that had been suspected initially, but he wasn't lured off the ship. I don't know how this happens, how you can allow someone who is a minor get off the ship. And that's one thing I love about Walt Disney World, that if someone gets separated from their parent, even for a second, security is there to make sure that child is protected and returned or reunited, I should say, with their parents immediately.
Absolutely.
I'm sure the cruise lines, even though it's happened on one particular cruise line, will start cracking down and not allowing kids to get off without parents being there. Now, I have heard in the past on some cruise lines, kids will try to, like teenage kids, still minors, will cut to a different line, show security. Okay, there's my parents over there. They'll wave and then they can get off. I don't think they're going to allow that anymore. I think they're going to make the kids and their parents stay together. So when their information comes up on the key card, when they read that, they'll see who's there and who's who, and they'll know they're together, not let someone off the ship without a parent or guardian.
I'll have to look that up because I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, it's making the rounds in the news.
Did they hold the ship back?
No, they can't. You get off.
The grandparents stayed.
The grandmother got off the ship to help look for the child, her grandchild.
That's scary.
Ships do not wait. That's another thing for anybody who takes a cruise. Ships will not wait for you. They tell you be back by a certain time. Get back by that time.
Yeah.
Actually, get back before that
Championship.
time. Sorry, Kurt.
Kurt,
Kurt, you froze. Anyway, and something else that I want to mention too, getting off this topic and back to Walt Disney World. I'm sure Kurt will rejoin us momentarily. The last week just mentioned the Flowering Garden, not Flowering Garden. Sorry, the Eat to the Beat concerts.
yes.
You know what? For someone who lived in New Jersey for several years, I'm disappointed. There's no Gary U.S. Bonds. There's no Southside Johnny. There's no Bon Jovi. Bon Jovi's a big Disney fan. Get him in there. Come on.
Has Bon Jovi
Bring
played
him.
there before?
I'm sorry?
Has Bon Jovi played there before?
No. This
So
was
it's
the first
wishful
time.
thinking on your part.
No, I haven't mentioned
We're wishful,
Yeah,
but yeah.
I haven't mentioned Springsteen because I know they'll never get Springsteen to play.
I know.
But
But they
Well,
do
Bon
have
Jovi
Anthony.
just came
He's
out with a
coming
new
back.
album,
Pretty
and he's
good.
got
Wait, everybody's talking at once. Hold on, one at a time.
Bon Jovi just came out with a new album, which means he's probably going to be doing limited touring.
Mm-hmm.
But he also has no vocal cords because he just
Yeah, I
had to
know.
have that worked on. So I doubt you're going to hear Bon Jovi.
Yeah, well, but Gary U.S. Bonds, how about him? How about Southside Johnny? There's others from New Jersey. Well, you know, Jersey Week would be a perfect time to bring artists from New Jersey here. Perfect time. Anyway,
What
let's
about
get on.
Nebraska week?
Who cares about Nebraska? Okay. Actually, I'm going to have to get my glasses to read these questions. I can't see. The older I get, the more tired I get. I always keep a spare pair here. All right. So these are commonly asked Disney World trip planning questions. We're not going to cover everything. We don't have the time. What is the best time? And this is all your opinion. You know, people want to know what is the best time to vacation at Disney World, knowing that there are people that are limited to the times they can come. But what is the best time, or maybe even the worst time to come to Walt Disney World? Darlene?
I think the best time to come is if you don't have to worry about your children going to school and school systems insisting that they go to school at a certain time and you don't feel comfortable taking them out. I suggest coming at times where there's not a holiday. There's always holiday things going on during the holidays. And the worst time to come, I think, is during the actual holiday weeks.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think there is no really good time to go. It used to be after Labor Day, but then you have a marathon that comes up, and it's same thing in February and January. You know, it's just like they filled in the busy times. There's no perfect time to come anymore. There were less worse times to come.
Late May.
Yeah, late May's a good time.
Except we're blocked out when you're an annual pass holder. So if you are an annual pass holder,
Wait, late May, you blocked out from what? Memorial Weekend.
Memorial Weekend.
Yeah, that's a day or
Yeah.
two. That's nothing.
Well, that depends on what level pass you've got.
Right.
Yeah, but I don't think we're talking about annual pass holders here. I think we're talking about vacationers, people who are coming for an extended stay.
You would be surprised how many out-of-state people hold annual passes.
Well, yeah, that's not my point, though. I wasn't actually looking at Memorial Day. I was looking at late May, where it's before Memorial Day, so that no one wants to go yet because they can't leave school because it's the end of the school year. They can't miss any time, which is perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From an adult's point of view.
Yeah, I think if you don't have kids, there's many more times during the year that could work for you. If you have kids, you're kind of stuck unless you take them out of school. There's certain times of the year, like the summer, Easter, Christmas. Don't come. If you want to avoid crowds, don't ever come Christmas time. It's just don't do it. You're setting yourself up for a not fun experience. All right, let's go on to the next question here. Next question is, should we stay on or off Walt Disney World property? Anybody want to take this one?
You have to stay on property. So you got the transportation to get you around. That's more than just one bus once an hour. You have on top of the transportation, well, many different forms of transportation. You got the parking covered if you choose to drive yourself, because if you're staying in a resort, they cover the cost of the parking in the parking lots. They do not charge, the hotels do not charge a parking fee anymore. So they got rid of that you'll also see at off-site resorts. And you're closer to the magic. What more could you ask for?
And it's more merciful. Go ahead, Darlene.
Yeah.
I'm going to be the advocate for our other friend that is not here today, Lottie, and say
I'll get to, I know. Whoa. You're talking about larger families?
larger
That's
families.
another question. We'll get to that. So hold your answer for that. I'm going to just mention something. If you're staying off property, something you have to consider besides not being close to magic or able to get early or late magic hours is transportation to and from the parks. If you're depending on the hotel's
Kurt did
bus.
say that. Yeah.
I said that.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you want to get a lot more of our thoughts on that, listen to episode number 490,
Yes.
where we
We
talk
did
about
just talk about that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Next question. The extra benefits, and I think we mentioned some of them for staying in a Walt Disney World resort. So there's the early and late magic hours. You're there, close.
They do a marshmallow campfire did they do that at all resorts, or is it just at the deluxe
deluxe.
resorts?
I think
Okay.
it's just a deluxe, but there's also movie nights.
Movie nights are at every resort.
Yeah, the pool.
One thing you can think of in rooms that are at Disney World, they all come with like stuff that you don't have to pack, like shampoo, body wash, lotion, all that stuff is in your room. You don't have to worry about things like that packing. That's a nice amenity that you have. And when you're going to the pool, you have towels that you don't have to pack because they provide them.
Darlene, have you ever stayed at a hotel that doesn't have shampoo and conditioner and soap?
Towels.
Yeah.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I've never stayed. I mean, I've
I've
stayed in ones that
never-
have pretty bad stuff,
Yeah.
but they've all had them.
I think even my Motel 6 that I stayed in when I was in college had shampoo.
I think that's
And
something I think if you want to say
I
that
had
Disney
a
World
bag
has
for
quality
shampoo.
products. Yeah, I think if you want to say that Disney has quality products compared to some other resorts, I think that would be fair to say. But if you're staying at a, Hilton, you might have decent products as well. I'm not saying you do. Everybody's got different, preferences. But anyway, moving on. And Darlene, now you can give your answer.
Okay.
Can Disney World resorts accommodate large families?
This is a two-part question. They can accommodate large families if you have the resources to pay for larger rooms. You can always stay at a Disney Vacation Club resort, like the tree houses or one of the villas in one of our Disney Deluxe resorts, the DVC resorts. If you are on a budget, my part two, then you might be better when you have like a family of 5 or 6 or 7, you might need to rent a house or a condo or something off site. I would recommend talking to our MEI and Mouse Fan Travel friends. They will definitely help you make that decision. There are, places all over the area by Disney that you can, stay at. So it just depends, because when you start getting into larger families, Lottie, our, co-host, she always, says it's very hard once the girls get bigger and your kids get bigger,
Yeah.
it's harder to stay at a Walt Disney Resort if you don't want to be split up, mother or father splitting up to take, children to 2 rooms.
Well, the answer is yes, though. Can they accommodate? Yes.
They can.
So you can rent DVC properties. You mentioned DVC. You don't have
Yep.
to be a DVC member. You can rent them. You can rent a
Mhm.
1-bedroom. You can rent a 2-bedroom. You can rent larger. And
Mhm.
there's going to be a cost to it. There's certainly the suites at the heart of animation. So Disney does make accommodations. Is there a cost for it? Certainly there is.
Mhm.
And can you find things less expensive off property? You can. But do they accommodate? They most certainly do.
Mhm.
All right. Moving on. How do I find out more information about accommodations for family members with a disability and special needs?
There's a number you can call. First, look on the web, find out the number, and call that number.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I would definitely do so well in advance of your Walt Disney World vacation. That's
Yes.
information that's a must for you to know before you arrive on property. And they're pretty good at accommodating people with most disabilities and special needs.
Yeah.
Better
There are,
than
there,
most places.
there are Disney fan podcasts out there, including Disney on Wheels,
Mm-hmm.
that
Mhm.
for people that do require special accommodations, where you can get some good insight as well.
Yeah. Yep.
They actually have a full page of accessibility at Walt Disney World, right on the website, disneyworld.disney.go.com, guest-services /guests with disabilities. So I would definitely look at that website to see all that, Disney offers.
Mhm. All right. Here's a good question. What age is best? And I wish Jess was here. What age is best to bring my child to Walt Disney World?
Are we talking first trip?
If it's what age is best, I would say first trip.
Are we talking making memories for the parents and making memories for the kids? Because there's the difference.
Why
Why
don't
don't you give both? Why don't you give answers to both?
So if you're making memories for the kids to remember, my kids have gone their entire life. They can't remember things from when they were real little, unless I maybe show them pictures. They can't remember anything, even like 5 and 6 years old. Sometimes they don't remember stuff.
All right, but let's look at it from a different perspective, because I think this question was more geared towards at what age do you think my children can handle being at Walt Disney World, where they will enjoy themselves. It doesn't matter whether they remember or not.
About 4.
Or you can look at it from the parents' perspective. At what age are they too young? Jess, who does the news here, she's brought her kids to Walt Disney World from the time they were infants, barely.
1
Yeah.
month.
That's what we did.
Yeah.
That's what we did.
Yeah, I don't
It
think
all
there's a
depends on the
limit.
parents, what you can handle.
Right. And the parents are going to get a lot out of those early trips,
Mhm.
just
Mhm.
being there with their children, doing simple things, not rushing to get onto attractions, just enjoying being in the parks with them, whether it's at a sprinkler or, one of the rides that can accommodate them at that age. Just being together as a family. I
Yeah.
think there's so much opportunity. So whatever, like you say, whatever the parents and their family are comfortable with, I think is a
Mhm.
good time.
Right. If you're okay, bringing everything and anything for your kids and carrying around all day long with you to keep them
Exactly.
happy, go for it. Have fun.
Yeah.
I took Alicia to Disneyland when she was 1.5.
Yeah. Well,
I
my
Yeah,
daughter was
Yeah.
barely 2 the first time she went. A very different experience from when she was, a few years older, 5. But
Yeah, my
hey,
grandson was 6 months, so
Well,
yeah.
and
Tyler was under 9 months, I think, his first trip.
I was 23.
if you want to look at
That was Anne.
if you want to look at just from the parents' perspective in terms of will they enjoy the parks with bring such young children at that age, you know what? you're looking at the parks through their eyes when they're that young. If you want to enjoy it yourself, wait till they're a little older.
I remember going when I was 10 years old, and we were staying with my uncle's girlfriend and her parents in Fort Myers, and they drove me and my mom and my aunt up to the front of the park almost and dropped me off in front of Magic Kingdom, and I was like thrilled to death, and picked us up at the end of the day.
Right. I
that's
remember going when I was 3,
Yeah.
but we each have different types of memories. My kids, they start pointing stuff out, and I don't think they realized that they were as young as they were when said things happened. But
Yeah.
for them to just recall, because I asked my son specifically about this about a month ago. I go, "What's your earliest memories of Disney?" He goes, "I'd have to look at the pictures."
Yeah. You know, I was an adult the first time I went to Walt Disney World, but the best memories, and I loved it. Don't get me wrong, I loved it. It was a tremendous experience for me, and I was hooked from the moment I stepped foot on Walt Disney World property. But going with my kids at a young age, and then seeing how different the trips were as they got older, because you're exploring and enjoying the parks through their eyes. Those are the greatest experience I've ever had. Going to the parks and seeing my kids at different stages of their life and how they enjoyed it. And I think if you go into Disney World with that attitude, rather than I want to enjoy it myself, you want your kids to enjoy it, and you'll enjoy it through their eyes. All right, let's move on. Up to what age is my child considered a child at Walt Disney World?
10. The minute they hit 10,
No,
What about-
9.
no, the minute you hit 10,
Well, you're an adult once you hit 10.
once you hit 10, you're an adult.
Yep.
So they're a
So-
child at 9 is what the
Right.
They're still a child at 9.
Yep. You could be 9 years old, 11 months, and 29 days. You're still a child. Once you hit that 10th birthday, you pay adult prices everywhere.
I did see someone trying to take a kid in that was almost 4 feet tall and say that he was 2.
I've seen there was videos that went viral with a parent, I'll say, that had a child in a stroller that was way over 9 years old, trying to sneak the kid in.
Mm-hmm.
Are there places to change an infant's diapers in the parks?
Yes.
Yes.
Plenty.
There's a what is it, a baby station?
Child care station
Child
in
in
each park.
every park. And if you have a headache or you need a Band-Aid, they'll take care of you there too. It's at the first aid station.
And you
Okay.
can also change them in normal bathrooms as well if you don't need the baby's changing station.
Also true.
Should I bring a stroller for my young child? Well, it depends on how young is.
Okay. There are a lot of people that rent strollers because Disney does rent them. There are rental companies that you can get strollers from. But if your child is comfortable in their own stroller, I would say bring your stroller with you.
Also, if you have access to a car and you can go to Walmart or Target nearby, you can get an umbrella stroller. I
right.
know a lot of people will pay it forward. They'll get an umbrella stroller. They'll
And
see
then-
another family
Right.
with young children.
Yeah.
They'll give it to them.
Yeah. You could
Um,
order one from Amazon and have it delivered to your resort
Yeah,
as
good
well.
point,
Correct.
Dan.
Yeah.
Very good point.
Yeah.
All right. Kurt, I know you're going to love this question. How much are Disney World park tickets?
Too much.
Yeah.
It
What are they
depends
about?
on the day. It depends on the season.
Yep.
It depends
Fair-
on
fair
whether or not
pricing.
they need to pay for something that broke. Who knows?
Mhm.
Oh, hey, Space Mountain's down. That's going to cost a couple million. Raise the ticket price a couple bucks. Raise
Or-
GD
That was
Plus
like
while we're
this.
at it.
For example, today Magic Kingdom was $174 for children, $179 for adults. Add-on Hopper, $244.
Uh,
Right. But most people don't go for a day.
No.
Most people are going to
And-
go probably 3 days or longer, and it starts to get down to right around $90 to $100 a day if you're doing
think
5
so.
days.
5 days, it's 100 and I think it's 110 or 100.
It's
All I
not-
know is the park hopper was $720 through another service.
Yeah, the park hopper will cost you $75,
Right. So,
irrespective of length of ticket.
yeah.
But we're getting. I was just looking at tickets for October, and at 5 days, I think it was under 100 for 5 days.
That's an off-season time. So because in June it was $120 a day.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does depend on the month you go, and not just the month, but the specific days.
Right.
The month, the
Correct.
specific days. The more days you spend in the parks, or the more days you purchase park tickets, as you mentioned, the
Yeah.
cheaper they are.
Yeah, but you certainly don't want to bank on less than $100 a day for play.
Yeah, exactly. I don't believe. I know they sell many one-day tickets at Walt Disney World, but I don't believe the majority of most guests are purchasing one-day tickets.
Yeah.
I think it's a few hundred here, a few hundred there.
Yeah, and you can go to reputable third-party sellers like Undercover Tourist and get a small discount.
Mhm.
Yes.
Stay away from places that say free tickets, free theme park
Yes.
tickets. Those are usually hard timeshare sells, and they're trying to get or scams, one or the other, or both. So be very leery and weary of those places.
Yes.
Even
Yeah.
the discount tickets. They call them discount tickets now. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Disney
Now,
doesn't have discount tickets.
No.
looking at the rest of July, it looks like if you go and if you pick 5 days, it looks like they're $122 a day.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah, could be. All right. Do theme park tickets include all the attractions? Well, technically, the answer is yes.
Technically, yes.
Yes.
Are you going to get on every attraction? Probably not.
No.
And who would like to say why you probably want to get every attraction? It just isn't enough time during the day.
No. Even, you know what? If there was no line, you wouldn't be able to get on every attraction during the day,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah,
It'd be very difficult.
Yeah.
it would be.
Especially at the Magic Kingdom.
Mhm.
Yeah. There is a way to kind of help yourself out in getting on more attractions than you might otherwise, and that's purchasing. Currently, it's called Genie Plus. In a couple of weeks, it'll be called Lightning Lane Multi-Day Pass or Single Pass. We did a show about that. We're not going to get into that now.
Last week.
That was show what?
I don't know.
500.
Last week. All right. Where am I here? What's the difference between a base ticket and a park hopper ticket?
Days tickets go to one park and one park only. Park hopper, once you've gone to your first park, you can go to any other park you want to throughout the day.
At an additional cost.
That's the
Well,
$75
That's the $75 extra.
per person.
But that's the difference between the two parks.
Yep. That's absolutely
Does
true.
anybody? So, what is the longest? Is 10 days the longest ticket you can get now?
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
Right. So that park hopper would be $75, whether it's 1 day or 10 days.
Correct.
Correct. So the longer you stay, the more
More value.
affordable that be. Yeah, you get better value with
Right.
it. So if you use
Yeah.
it twice, it's not as bad,
Mhm.
or third
Mhm.
time.
Correct.
But if you're going to stay, isn't that the break-even price? 10 days for pretty much getting an annual pass, from what I understand.
Well, it depends on which one you get. The Incredipass is $12.49, I think,
Mhm.
and the if you have DVC or Florida, you can get the Sorcerer's Pass for $9.99.
I believe
Right.
so. It is, yes.
Yes.
Not all passes are available
Correct.
to everyone. So if you live in Florida, all passes are available to you. If you don't live in Florida and you're not a DVC member,
There's only one,
right?
There's only one.
the Incredipass, which
Oh,
is,
the Incredipass.
I think, is $12.49. I was just looking at them today.
Yeah, so you've got to do the math on if you purchase tickets separately or for your stay, what's cheaper, the Incredipass or,
Right.
That's been the same over the years, because I know for quite a few years we would come down 3 times a year sometimes, and we would price out the annual pass. That's how I got to know about the annual pass, because it just made sense for Alicia and I.
Right. And it also depends on, so if you are going down, how many days at a time?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going 2 different trips that are 5 days each, it's going to be more beneficial to get the annual pass there than if you were doing 10 days straight on one ticket, because each subsequent day is a little bit less, all within that 10 days.
Yep,
And
absolutely.
there's the other benefit along those lines is that depending on what time of year you're going, you can also get up to 30% off on your hotel rooms
Yep.
Mhm.
and the discount on food and for things that you're buying up to
Yeah,
up to
purchase.
20%.
Up to 40%. Didn't they have 40% for later this year? For
They
yeah,
did.
they did. I don't
They
remember
did.
when.
You're
It
right.
was
they
a
did.
short
I thought
period
that
of
was
time.
just DVC.
It's a short period of time.
I thought that was for DVC only. I'm sorry.
All right. Should I buy my park tickets in advance? Yes.
Yes.
You don't want to buy them at the gate, because you're
No.
going to have another line you're going to have to stand in. And yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes you do have to go to guest services to get them activated, and that they will
Correct.
not activate them off your phone at the touch points. I do know that, because they keep sending people over to
Oh,
guest.
can't they do that at your resort? If you
They
stay
No,
on property?
here's the situation. Like if you buy your annual passes and you're a Disney Vacation Club member, you actually have to go to guest services. We went to the one in Disney Springs,
Right.
and they'll activate you have to show your ID and prove that you're a Disney Vacation Club member, and they've got to look it up. So that's why you have to go to guest services. Do it the day before if you can. It just makes life a lot easier for you than trying to do it first thing in the morning.
And,
Yeah,
and
I
regular
agree.
tickets that you purchase, you have to do the same thing. You have to go to guest relations to get them activated.
You do?
Yeah.
Because we didn't in the past.
Yeah.
If I bought
people in
AAA
front of us did.
last year, I bought them off of AAA, put them right onto my thing ahead of time, and no issues.
Yeah, they said they couldn't take them off the phone for some reason. Maybe it was just Magic Kingdom that day. I don't know. But I would just get it done at the hotel or whatever if you can.
Or get a Magic Band. In that case, if it was something with the phone, their phone wasn't syncing or something because the RFD wasn't working. That's why we have Magic Bands.
All right. Do I need to make dining reservations? And if so, how far in advance of my trip should I do that?
Are those 60 days out again for dining, or is it 30?
I want to say I think they are, but I'm not positive. And Darlene's doing a quick
Yes.
search. Oh, Kirk found it already. All right, so we know the answer then. You can do it 60 days out. But what I would do if I were planning a trip to Walt Disney World, I don't care if it's your first time, 150th time. If you're making advanced dining reservations, just research the restaurants and know your likes and dislikes. Look at the menus, although they can change, but you're probably not going to get a drastic change 60 days out. And know where you want to go when before you make the reservations, and have a backup plan for each dining spot.
Yeah. To answer the question somewhat directly, no,
Please do.
you don't need to. There are definitely times when it will make it better for you, a better experience. But I've also been hearing that lately there are a lot of unused reservations.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You can put yourself on a walk-up list now also right there on the app.
Yeah.
And some of the best reservations I've gotten have been the day before because people don't want to pay that cancellation fee. So they back out 24 hours, just over 24 hours in advance. So, but you can do it as early as 60 days. The booking window begins at approximately 6 a.m. on Eastern time. 60
Well,
days out at 6
I
a.m.
will not mention which restaurant this is, but I will say it's in Epcot. And I've had times where, actually, most of the time, I cannot make a dining reservation at this place. It's just impossible. But if I show up at the front of the restaurant and say, "Do you have any room for 2 people, 4 people, sticks?" I get in pretty quickly.
And that worked for us as well. And it was an off time, though. It wasn't like during their busy time. So if you don't mind eating a little bit off the time, you really want to, say go at 2 o'clock instead of 5 o'clock. Do a dinner instead of a dinner, or
See,
go
and
after.
I think what Darlene is saying is accurate, but I will say for this one restaurant that I love, I've been able to go at the prime time
Oh, have you?
and had no difficulty, but I couldn't make a reservation for it in advance.
Yeah.
Yet Joe, and I think there's probably a cancellation or two, or maybe they save a few tables for people that walk up, and I've gotten lucky. I don't know what it is,
Yeah.
but I won't mention the restaurant because I don't want to jinx it completely and not be able to do it again.
Well, we know what restaurant it wasn't, but
Yeah, that's true.
do.
I think Darlene knows the restaurant it is, but
I do. I do.
mum's the word.
Mm-hmm.
and don't forget that you
Oh, gotta let the
can
dog in. Hold on.
you can watch on the My Disney Experience app for availability to pop up. I have seen availability pop up out of the blue
Yeah.
at any given time. So if there's something you want and it's booked and you can't get a walk up or whatever, you can try just to see if it comes available in the app if you check every so often. No guarantees, but I've done it many times.
Mhm. Yeah. All right. I have food allergies. What and where can I eat at Walt Disney World?
Everywhere.
Everywhere. On the app, again, when it shows the menu, you can go down, you can look at the gluten-free menu, you can look at a seafood-free menu. It's on there. If you're eating at a table service, one of the first things they ask is, does anyone have any allergies? They will bring the chef out to talk to you specifically.
Am definitely the person that knows all about that if you ever have a question.
I've
Even
done
on
it.
cruise lines.
Yes. Well, again, seafood allergies, I know all about it. And we've gone and eaten at the Living Seas before. And they well, I was waiting for them to say, why are you eating here? It's the view, really. I'll have the chicken, please. But yeah, they specifically will ask, and the guy will come out and say, is this going to work for, what are you thinking of eating? There's nothing in there related to that. It works.
Mm-hmm. That it does. All right.
And my husband has different allergies compared to what Kurt has. And they will leave seasoning off of things. They will check labels for things that they use. So it is extremely the most friendliest place to eat.
Okay, now changing topics a little bit, but we've got a few more questions left. What are must-have items to bring to Walt Disney World?
When packing?
A credit card.
Yeah.
A poncho.
Yep.
Sunscreen. Chargers.
Mm-hmm. Sync cable.
Water bottle.
Chargers.
If you're to bring a water bottle, bring a water bottle that has a filter in it. I know they now make stainless steel Brita bottles that are wonderful and they keep your water cold throughout the day. I'm sorry, Florida water is horrible.
I don't think it's water.
Well,
Yeah, I think it's liquid sulfur. No, I'm.
It could be. It could be.
If you don't have what Kurt is saying, you can take a bottle, like Jess said earlier. If you didn't catch the news, she did say that you can go up to any quick service that has soda that they serve. They will serve ice and water from their facility, and
Yeah,
that's
I don't,
like filtered.
while I think it's a very good idea to bring a water bottle, I don't know if it's a must-have for a lot of people. I'm not saying it shouldn't be. I just think there are a lot of people that are on vacation and they expect to be drinking through. They don't expect to get dehydrated.
Yeah, I never take a bottle personally into the parks.
Yeah,
I do, just because
We
I
do.
live here, you know.
We also carry it in a backpack
Yeah.
because everything else is in there.
I don't, but don't do as I do. Do as Kurt does.
Well,
Because
yeah,
we don't
It
drink
probably
water.
would be a good idea, but I just don't do
I
it.
know your wife does.
Yes, she does.
what fits your preferences and the way you do things. Yeah, there's a lot of people do that, and it works very well for them.
Yeah, but just keep in mind that it does get very hot here, and if you're going to be out in the sun
It
for
does.
quite a period of time, and you don't find a place to get a cup of ice water, you might be hitting the pavement.
Yeah, well, no, you want to stay hydrated, absolutely.
Yeah.
There are other ways you can do it.
Yes, there are. Have lunch and drink a lot.
Yeah.
And other things you should not forget to bring with you is your medications.
Yes, absolutely. That is a must.
You don't need a first aid kit. Disney has all of that taken care of. But if you do need like moleskin or anything, they do sell it. But if you need it because you get blisters, I would pack it.
Now, this is not a must-have unless you have bad breath, but Disney does not sell gum at Walt Disney World.
Ooh.
So if you want gum, bring your own.
But they do sell Foxy's peppermints at the UK store.
And how much are they?
Very good.
How much are they? So there are a lot of things you can get on property,
Yeah.
but it's going to cost you. Like medications, over-the-counter medications, bring your own. Batteries, bring your own. Don't forget your cell phone chargers and SIM cables. It will cost you. Yes, you can get them there.
I think the bag was like $3.95 for a bag of them, and it was.
I know nearby.
Bag.
I know there's an urgent care nearby as well.
Mm-hmm.
And they are open 24 hours a day, and they can fill your prescription as well, even on the 4th of July, because I had a friend have to deal with urgent care and getting a prescription filled on that day.
Okay.
You don't want to forget your tickets, certainly.
No.
If they're digital, you want your phone or device, but
if you're coming from another country, your passport.
Oh, yes.
Or
if you're going from here on a cruise, your passport is very much needed.
Yeah, even though they say it's not necessary on a cruise, don't be dumb. Just bring it.
Bring it.
And you need to bring some variety of clothing, especially if you're on some of the shoulder months, but it could be cool, it could be hot. And I would suggest you want to bring an extra pair of shoes, especially, well, it can rain anytime in Disney.
Yep, it can.
So you get wet shoes, it'd be nice to have another pair for the next day.
And this leads us to our next question. What kind of clothing is good to wear in the parks? Now, if you're ladies of the evening wear.
As little as feasibly possible while still being modest. We say that.
I think the
Don't be a TikToker.
I think the standards in the parks have changed over the years.
They have.
It used to be people would dress modestly conservative, and now I'm seeing things in the parks. It's not really appropriate for some young children to see, but it's allowed.
It rains every afternoon. Please don't turn it into a wet t-shirt contest, I think is what you're trying to say.
No, sure. Okay.
So one thing I want to say is, I know a lot of people, it doesn't matter what age you are. You're going from the hot into a restaurant. If you're going to a sit down, you may very well want a light sweater with you, because some of those restaurants can get very cold.
I've never had that problem there, but
You don't. I'm saying.
But I know people that have.
Yes. That's why I'm saying it
Yeah.
that way. You
Well,
know,
I know
that
somebody.
happens at home.
Oh
So
yeah,
I see that happen plenty here in the Northeast. It's hot and during the summertime.
Well,
But you go
people come
inside.
down here. Yeah, people come down here and just think it's Florida. We always say it's hot, hot, hot. It is hot outside, but when you go inside, it's cold.
The other thing you need to make sure you're packing. I mean, people always say wear comfortable shoes. Take it a step further. You got to realize you're walking 8 to 12 miles a day, every day.
Yep.
Make sure you have shoes that give you good support, because I'm sorry, flip flops are comfortable. They don't give you enough support. Your legs are going to be jello by the end of
I've
the
seen
day.
people wearing Crocs in the parks.
I don't get
That
it.
is not appropriate for a full day of touring the parks. You know, for an hour here or there, okay, fine. But you're going to spend considerable time during the day in the parks. Not so good.
Yeah.
I have,
Leather
a,
sandals with a leather bottom. I'm like, come on.
Yeah. I've seen high heels in the parks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a friend that wears oofs recovery sandals.
Mm-hmm.
UFOs.
She goes UFOs, yeah. Everywhere she goes.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Hoka's another brand.
The sneakers.
There's
Yeah.
there's several brands out there. Just make sure they're not brand new and you haven't broken them in yet.
Yeah. Well, not even necessarily. My daughter had a pair of Sperry's that she was wearing for years. Like she had them for like a year and a half, and she wears them to the zoo and stuff. And then she came here, and she ended up getting blisters.
Well,
Can happen.
Yeah.
I also
Oh.
you have to be careful. Also, there's a famous shoe brand that has memory foam in them.
Oh, I know the one you're
And
talking about.
During a deluge storm in the Magic Kingdom, you couldn't not walk through puddles that were up to your knees, and that memory foam just worked like a sponge. And after that, they just never worked the same again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
That
something
was
I always
early
do
on.
now in the parks, I get those slip-in inner soles that I take out what's in the shoe itself, put
Mm-hmm.
these in, because I've had plantar fasciitis in both feet, more recently in my left than my right. So I need them anyway. But if you're going to be doing a lot of walking, it's not a bad idea to use something to give yourself extra support walking around.
Well, and if you probably want at least 2 sets of those inserts in case one set gets wet.
Yeah,
You want
I
to.
guess.
Yeah, I mean, because I've done that. I normally wear sneakers that, I do the same thing you do. I take out the soles and stuff. So, and I switch the inserts in the sneakers so that I have a different pair. And I normally bring 2 pairs of sneakers.
Yeah, you know, I think light t-shirts are good.
Light, yes.
I know I've seen people with a lot, I've seen more so than ever. I've seen people with those long sleeve shirts that are, sun protective or whatever you want to call them. I forgot the name.
Yeah.
SPF 50.
SPF, yeah.
Yeah. If they'll keep you, I don't know if they're gonna keep you cooler, but they'll protect you from the sun. So if that's your,
Yes.
your
Yes.
provocative well, I can't even think.
I wore one of those shirts just one day out in the bay, and you could see a tan line right at my wrist. And I didn't spend a whole heck of a lot time out in the sun, but just that time in the sun, it really does work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they comfortable though?
Yeah. Are they?
Well, we were out there on Sea-Doo, so yeah, it was great.
Okay.
But it's a lot more comfortable. They are very lightweight. I'm not going to say they shed the water off of you. I didn't overheat in it. I was fine with it.
Yeah. I have, I guess a couple of years ago, I bought new shorts. I always wore cotton shorts to the parks and never had a problem with them. But I recently decided, let me try these shorts. And I went with shorts that are made out of nylon and much more comfortable, believe it or not. And they keep you a little cooler.
Yeah, they're breathable. Yes.
Yeah.
Duluth Trading makes some good shorts out of that kind of material.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd also recommend, and I've done it before, one of the safari sun hats
Yes.
Yes.
Especially in the warmer months, the sunnier months, and it doesn't necessarily keep you cooler, but it does keep the sun off of you, which helps you to breathe and feel a little bit better than if you didn't have one.
I will tell you something not to do. Now, I've worn. I rarely do this, but every now and then I'll wear a baseball cap to the parks. I bought a black one.
Oh,
Not
don't do that.
Smart, because it absorbs the heat, and I was dying. But a white cap is fine, like the one Kurt has. Perfectly fine.
So
it'll reflect the sun and keep you a little cooler.
Those floppy hats like John is talking about, where they like fold up really nice. If you're like me, I hate it flopping all over. I want a brim that's set. And what you can do is, I actually ordered one off of Amazon that it literally came all wrapped up tight, about the size of this actually. I unwound it and I literally took it downstairs and I ironed it all out nice and flat the way I wanted it. And then you can go to Michael's and they sell, it's really thin wire. And you put the wire in through that outside brim and go all the way around it. And it'll set your hat, because then you can bend it a little bit. Perfect. Now you don't have to worry about that thing flopping down in your face anywhere. It was much more comfortable.
Yeah, I had gotten one off of Amazon as well. I didn't do that with the wiring, but I just never liked it, and I gave it to a friend.
Yeah, I had to put the wiring on there, because otherwise it was everywhere. It wouldn't.
Yeah, if I'm going to go to the parks for an extended period of time during the day and wear a baseball cap, I have a white Yankee. It has to be my Yankees baseball cap. My white Yankee baseball cap, and I'm fine with that. That is comfortable. I don't get too hot under there, and just don't wear a black cap. I love my black cap, but I can't wear it in the parks in the sun, because it's like a magnet for heat.
They're talking about. My husband has one of those floppy hats.
And
and I took that and I put the wire in there, and it works.
If you're listening to us, I suggest go over to YouTube and watch the show there. But please,
don't look
give us
at
a
me.
thumbs up wherever you listen or watch us.
Yeah,
it does help us out immensely. It helps us out. So if you could do that, we would appreciate it. Or subscribe to the show.
You do have to be careful with white hats in the summertime, though, because if you get too sweaty with them, they do stain your hat. Because your hat will turn.
Great.
Yeah, I haven't had that problem. I haven't had the problem with my Yankee cap yet.
Yeah.
And I stress the word yet.
What did you say? Did you say OxyClean?
I use Oxy because I have.
That's OxyClean. Okay.
Yeah, Oxy. Well, there's a couple different. There's the Oxy.
I prefer oxymoron to
There's
oxychloroquine.
spray, like spray wash, and then there's this other thing, and I use that because I have a few light tan hats too that get funny.
Even I have some off-color gray or green or whatever hats.
Oh, thank God! I thought he was going to say
they still stain
jokes,
like
and that would not be appropriate for the show.
Yeah.
So,
bite your tongue on that one.
Yeah. Do the parks have shaded areas?
Yes.
Yeah.
Where?
Trees.
Everywhere.
All right, let's start with Magic Kingdom. Where can you find? And we're not talking about going indoors. Where can you find shaded areas? I can think of one right off the bat.
Me too. I was there today.
Tom Sawyer Island.
Nope. Well, there's that.
The tree.
When we went over to Aloha Isle today, if you go around the side where the tiki room lets out, there's a nice chair, cement thing there that you can sit on and eat your dole with.
Where they used to have a shopping center in there, and the shopping center is gone now. You can sit underneath of there. The fans are still going, and they put tables in there instead.
Yep. The Swiss Family Robinson tree.
Yep.
The whole tree.
Yeah.
The whole tree.
Yeah. Epcot. Epcot's a little harder, but you can find places.
Oh, now you got the Communicore, not Communicore. What's the name of the new area where the Encanto is? That whole air-conditioned room.
No, that's a building. I said not indoors, outdoors.
No, well, outdoors. Yeah, that's a build. That's indoors.
Indoors, we know you can go into air conditioning everywhere.
They do have a lot of trees in that area now that are shaded areas.
Yeah, they do. The front of the park, you can find definitely find more shade than before.
Up behind the Japan Pavilion, there's trees.
Yes.
Mhm.
That Morocco area too. There's that area with all the like benches and stuff. They used to have it back there. I don't know if they do now.
I think
China
Hollywood
has-
Studios is probably the least shaded park of all the parks.
Hmm.
Which one?
Hollywood Studios.
Oh, okay.
Animal
Well,
Kingdom.
Hollywood Studios, they do have in certain areas, they've actually put umbrellas up, like at Slinky Dog
Yeah.
Dash,
Yep.
for you to be able to hide underneath of those umbrellas while you're waiting.
Disney's Animal Kingdom, I think, has the most shade.
I think they do too.
It also has some areas that are like, oh boy, you get in the sun there and it's like, help, get me out of here. But
Yeah.
the worst part of Animal Kingdom is parking far away from the entrance and having to walk. It's
Right.
yes, that's all in the sun.
Oh, all in the sun.
Yeah.
And
That's
there's
where you
still-
get Animal Kingdom hot.
Are there any parks that still don't have trams running?
No, they're
Hollywood
working
Studios.
everywhere.
Hollywood Studios. I don't think you need it there though.
Are you sure? I thought they were working last
I'm
time.
not
I was there.
positive, but I'm
Working
pretty
the
sure.
day I was there.
They
Okay.
were working in June.
Then I
But
was
now-
corrected.
Magic today, where we parked, they didn't have trams running over there because they were running on the other side.
Well, you didn't wait long enough.
Well, yeah,
Or you
right.
were close enough that they felt you could walk it
Yeah.
instead.
Are they running at Epcot?
Yes.
They've been running it.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
All right. How much walking can I expect to do each day?
You
7 to 10 miles.
decision yourself, but you can walk anywhere from 1 hour to 10 hours.
I would say the minimum you're gonna walk in most parks is 3 miles. That's a minimum. If you're spending a good portion of the day in the parks. And I think it goes up from there. I think you could walk as much as 6, 7, 8 miles a day. Easy.
Keep
Easy.
going.
Yeah,
Trying to
Kurt,
look at my
Kurt's
activity
pointing
report.
his thumbs up, which, you're right, Kurt. You're there all day.
7 to oh geez. If I looked it up, I know there was one last trip. I'm sorry, the 2023 trip. There was at least twice where we walked 10 miles and once where we walked 12 miles.
I know
And
I've
it's 3
walked
different
13
days.
miles in a day in a park.
Yeah. We put in it was 60 miles of walking in 5 days.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. Today we
That's a lot.
walked 5.19 miles. So, and we were in the park from 11:20 to I think 3:20. So, yeah, you could put in a lot of miles walking in the parks.
Yes, you
And
can.
that's where we're saying definitely make sure you bring extra shoes and stuff. Because just don't forget, if you get done at Magic, or well, not Magic Kingdom. Magic Kingdom is basically an all-day park when you go. But if you go like to Animal Kingdom and then go to Disney Springs is very big, and you'll do a lot of walking there as well. So you could put in a good 20, 1,000 steps in one day.
Right. Do we need to bring our own snacks and liquids?
You don't need to,
Mm.
no.
No, you don't.
what kind of budget are you on?
Right.
Right.
That was
Now, if your
What do you
kid
have
is one of
access
those
to?
kids that'll only eat those what do they call them? The Smucker's Uncrustables.
Yep,
Please
I
bring your
know.
own Uncrustables. They're like $6 a piece. Do you really want to pay
Yeah, it's
$6
insane
for
the
an
amount they
Uncrustable?
charge for that. What's become very popular now are those liquid hydration tubes that you can add to water.
Yeah.
But I would recommend everybody bring if you can, especially if you're going to be out in the parks all day in the heat.
Yeah, liquid IV is what Jess suggested earlier. That, and I've used it
That's what I
for,
was, liquid IV. That's what I meant to say.
yeah. That's one thing I've used for when I was doing the half marathons.
And we've come to the final question of the night, day,
Oh.
whatever you want to call it.
Well,
Can you smoke or vape at Walt Disney World?
in
Only in
designated,
designated areas.
Not in the parks, though.
Not in the parks. That is correct.
designated areas outside of the parks.
And if people vape in the parks and they're caught, they will make you skedaddle. If not, get
Thank
out
you.
of the parks.
As someone with with allergies that is allergic to even vape pens, thank you.
Yeah, just don't do it. Be courteous to fellow guests. If you have to smoke, exit the park, go to your car, go someplace where you can, and then come back in.
Go chew some nicotine gum instead.
Yeah, or that.
I like it when people walk out of the park and they're still like on property and they're walking to get off the monorail and they light up right away. It's like,
I've seen that.
seriously?
I have seen that.
Mm,
It's unfortunate. People just
it
like,
is.
you know. Well, we made it through it. I hope we were able to help you guys out. Does anybody have any question that they might have thought of on the fly that we didn't ask that they would like to ask and answer? I think we covered a lot of ground here tonight.
I think we did too.
All right, we're out of here. We will be back next week with another episode of the WDW Fan Zone Show. So until next time, be safe, be yourself. Bye-bye.
Good night, everybody.
Well, since Stuart was talking about how he's tired this evening, and since Darlene is wearing a Mary Poppins shirt, I'm going to leave us with "Stay awake, don't nod and dream." So we hope that you stayed awake throughout the show, but we hope you get some rest before you come back again next week and before you go walking all those miles. Good night.
Have a magical night. Stay safe and pack your sunscreen and a poncho.